What's up, guys? This is JD Rich coming back at you with another One Piece video and discussion. Today, we are going to be talking about King Harold and the offer that he actually received from the girls say. Or, yes, the offer that he received from the girls say, right? So, we know that in 1157 that at the end, you see the holy room and the temple and whatnot, and the girls say are all gathered around, and they offer King Harold a proposition. We will let you join the nations under the world government flag if you and the giants kill Rocksteady xebec. Now, something that throws me off about this proposition, the way they offer it. And the thing is, man, who are they talking to when they make this proposition? They're saying tell King Harold we'll offer him a chance to join the nations if him and the giants gather to kill Rocks. Now, I think that maybe, just maybe, the girls say could be potentially talking to the Rocks trader, or they may be talking to a God's Knight. Who knows? So is it a God's Knight that the girls say are telling that whoever they're sending to pass out this message of proposal, that person is either a agent, God's Knight, or the Rocks pirate trader themselves? Because honestly, man, the way Shaki gets abducted, it just throws me off. Because one, when it's mentioned that the God Valley, the treasure of God Valley is taken, and it's the government who takes the treasure of God Valley, Shaki, it's got me thinking, man. Shaki wanted to retire in peace, you know? She didn't want the heat of her retirement drawing the Navy to the Amazon Lily Island, but yet she chose to settle on Beehive, right? And I know we're still going to be talking about Harold, but real quick, I just have a prediction that maybe, what if the Rocks trader was making a report, if not to the girls, say to the government in general, or to whoever their higher ups are on the island? What if on the island, the Rocks trader was making a report in general, and Shaki just happened to be out watering her plants or watering her flowers or tending to the maintenance of her bar, and she just stumbled upon this person reporting back, and they're like, oh, she heard me. You weren't a part of the plan, but now you gotta come too, because I can't risk you leaking out my, my real intentions and my cover. I can't risk you blowing my cover. So Shaki, you now have to come captive. Or if that's not the case, could it have been something where they were after Shaki anyway, and they decided, forget it, let's just take a risk and go get her off that island? Because there may be some more importance to Shaki's character and backstory of who she is that correlates to her being abducted off of Beehive and Hachinosu. So I talked to somebody the other day, and they gave me this premise that what if the government kidnapped Shaki, like intentionally? It wasn't like they were there trying to report on Rocks or spy on Rocks. They intentionally went after Shaki, knowing she was on Rocks' island that he now confiscated and lied to the government about giving back to him. They went to Beehive purposely to kidnap Shaki because they want information that she probably knows. And what if the information ties back that Shaki could be withholding? What if that information has to do with the devil fruit that Boa Hancock now wields? What if the government was actually after the Boa Hancock's devil fruit, whoever the former previous user of it was, if there was a former previous user at all? But Boa's devil fruit, what if that may be one of the devil fruits that Rocks is looking for? And what if Shaki knows about it? Well, you know what I mean? What if Shaki has Rocks needed 2 devil fruits. The one that Harold could only eat, that's subjugated on Elbaf. Then there's another one. What if that other one could have potentially been Boa Hancock's fruit? Maybe. You would think not, because it's a love fruit, but maybe. Who knows? I don't know. But what if the government went after Shaki because they wanted information on Boa's fruit that she now wields? I forgot the name of it, guys. The love fruit or whatever it was. But that could be the case. Either way, if Shaki didn't discover the Rocks trader herself, hearing them report on a snail transponder to the higher ups, maybe Shaki was targeted anyway from the world government. Like, yeah, while Rox is not on his island, we can still go there. We'll send agents powerful enough to withstand the fodder pirates that are there, you know what I'm saying, bogarting the island and whatnot and inhabiting it. Just get Shaki and bring her to us, and then we'll deal with Rox later on. Maybe. But as far as Harold is concerned now, who is going to offer Harold this proposition? Now, we know the proposition came from the girls, say, but who are they talking to tell Harold about this proposition? Could it be the Rox trader? Could it be a God's Knight or another Cypher Pole agent or whatever? Those would be the two logical, you know what I'm saying, choices. A Cypher Pole agent or a God's Knight making the proposal to Harold like, yo, we got orders from the top. If you kill Rox, you can join the nations. Only if you kill Rox. Or could it be the Rox trader himself, herself, whoever? Now, obviously, I don't believe that Harold is going to kill Rox. I don't believe that at all, because as many times as Rox tried to recruit Harold on his crew, and you know, Harold has always refused, but they've seemed to have built up a solid rapport with one another. You know, they seem to have built up a solid actual foundation of trust and respect between each other. You know, given their clash on the Holy Land of Marijois, and the fact that the xebec told Harold how to get out of Marijois, and Harold just ended up jumping off onto the red line, jumping off or whatever, just cliff diving, you know. So I just believe that there's more to their friendship than what we're even showing, because we show them drinking together, and it's not the first time that Rox has come back trying to recruit him. Rox has always been trying to recruit him, but it seems to me that Rox has always respected his decision to say no. However, that's not going to stop him from trying to recruit him. You know, you can say no all you want to. I'm still going to ask. Come join my crew. You want to get what you want for your country? Come join my crew. You're tired of the government's corruption? Come join my crew. You know, you want to, like, but of course, Harold wants to establish peaceful ties with other nations and the rest of humanity around the world, especially humanity that has had his back when that country was in famine. Now, I don't believe that Harold would kill Rox, because there seems to be something, like, they seem to have built a genuine solid friendship off of who they are and how they respect who each other are. You know, despite Rox's obvious agenda to become king of the world and whatnot, Harold somewhat respects him as a man based on who he is and his principles, because Harold can see that despite Rox's flaws, he's really honest and upfront. You know, like, Rox is really a solid character as far as like his morals go, because he like thrashed Loki. He kicked Kaido in the face for even threatening or mentioning the thought of killing Harold or trying to do any harm to Harold at all. Not that Kaido really wanted to kill Harold. He wanted to force Harold to do their bidding and join their crew by force. But xebec wasn't having that. Like, you dumb rookie, I'll thrash you if you ever speak about doing something to Harold, you know? So I don't believe Harold is going to do it. And I believe that Harold's refusal to kill Rox is what is a part of what ultimately led to his death. That's just like one part of what led to his death. It may have been countless other times where Harold refused to do the government's bidding that involved possibly something around xebec, and even something far along the lines of submitting to the government under the condition of being slaves or even attack dogs for the government if they are called upon. You know, maybe the government wanted to recruit Elbath as mercenaries and rogues for the fighting forces of the military might of the government. And Harold was like, no, we're not going to be just used for your weapons. We want to be treated as equal citizens and people under the nation flag of the world government system. And if you can't make that happen, we don't want to be a part of your system. But that and not killing Rox is potentially what led up to Harold's death. Because remember, guys, he was stabbed inside of his own throne room by his own men. Why would your own men stab you in the back unless it was manipulated by the world government? And how did they manipulate it? Who knows? You know how, don't put it past the government. They're capable of so much evil, so much corruption. You know, you shouldn't put it past them to really manipulate Harold's men into killing Harold. Because if they weren't mind controlled, they willingly did it because of something that the world government offered them, or some type of threat that came at the expense of them, like, oh, not believing in their king or not trusting in their king. due to something the government said to them. Because then we did find out that we excuse me. We did find out that when Loki charged into the throne room and saw what happened, he killed everyone there. And Harold was still on his last dying moments, Yet Loki was found guilty of King Harold's death, simply because he was just there. But Loki tried to save Harold, despite any disagreements and dislikeness that Loki may have had towards Harold and his ideals. I think Loki respected the fact that Harold was actually friends with Xebec, and Loki still loved his dad, because at the end of the day, Harold truly loved Loki. Unlike Estrid, Loki did have one parent who genuinely loved him, but the responsibilities of running the country, could overwhelm Harold's plate to where he would miss out on certain time spending with Loki and bonding with him. But he still tried to make up for it, being the father that he was, Like all the times that they were hanging out at Ida's tavern, that was time he spent with Loki, also time spent talking to Xebec and whatnot. But Loki, always trying to get recruited by Xebec and always being told no. You know that Loki was always around when Harold and Xebec were together. And there might be more interactions with that. But Loki charging into that throne room and seeing his father being stabbed in his back, being stabbed by his own men, Loki went off, and rightfully so, killed all of them, man. Like, what do you expect, man? That's still my father at the end of the day. So I think that whole scenario with Harold's men stabbing him in his back, that may have occurred, and a big driver behind that occurrence was the fact that Harold refused to kill Rox, and they're like, fine, we'll have your own men kill you, and we'll just take over Elbaf and use their military might and their strength to take down Rox. So who knows, man? But like, Harold not killing Rox it's a big piece of why Harold was killed, outside of his rebellious nature to just simply bow down to the government and everything he was trying to do as far as establishing peaceful relationships with other nations. Harold refusing to kill Rox is one of the final nails in his metaphorical coffin. But Loki, what I don't get is this: how did Loki get captured after Loki tried to save Harold? How was Loki captured in those moments after that? You know what I'm saying? Like, I know it's gonna come out that Shanks took down Loki, but I don't believe in that moment. It wasn't at that moment. It was later on. But Loki being labeled the killer of Harold, who tried to fight Loki at that moment? Because I would assume every other giant, because it was really lies, but that the world government probably helped spread after realizing, like, oh, there was probably an agent there who witnessed Loki coming to Harold's aid, but it was evidently too late because Harold was already wounded and dying. Even though Loki killed allegedly everybody in that room, I think there might have been a government agent who got out just in time to set up the rest of the Elbaf to believe the lies that Loki killed Harold. And Loki didn't kill Harold. He didn't kill him. But Harold did die, that day, being stabbed by his own men. So either his own men were convinced by the world government about something about Harold that wasn't true, that they told Harold's men, like, Harold is going to sell you guys out or something like that. Or if you don't do this, we'll just kill all of you. So you got to kill Harold so the country can, or we'll destroy the whole country. So his men thought that they should act among themselves and stab Harold and call themselves saving the country by killing their king. Or if Harold's men were mind controlled and they stabbed him due to some government agent having some type of ability over them. And another possibility, what if it was actually government agents who disguised themselves as Harold's Kingsguard? What if they actually infiltrated Elbaf, beat up Harold's guards, and wore their attire and walked around acting as if they were the guards of Elbaf, but really they were just waiting for the final order, like, okay, he won't kill Rox, take him out. And they did, But then Loki coming up in there, man, I want to know what else happened after Loki killed everybody in his last moments with Harold. I want to know what happened, because, clearly there may have been God's Knights involved, because as we see in the current stage of Elbaf, even though Shamrock and Gunko were newly introduced to us as the audience, the God's Knights, like, that isn't Loki's first encounter with God's Knights. Something tells me that he had an encounter with certain God's Knights who may have been a part of why Harold was stabbed by his own men in the first place. And Loki may have tried to fight them prior, after, you know what I'm saying, prior, during the moment that he tried to save his dad. Now, was it Shamrock and Gunko back then? Probably not, but it was probably because, you know, Shamrock, I think he was still a child. Gunko was still more of a child back then. But the God's Knights that were current back then, back during Harold and Loki's, you know, last moments, were there God's Knights there the moment that Harold was killed? Because there had to be some type of powerful government entity or agent or God's Knight that was there when Harold got stabbed by his own men. We don't know, but we can't say that, you know, it's not possible. So, yeah, man, with Harold, I don't believe Harold would have tried to kill Rox. I think that Harold might have told Rox about the plan, maybe. Who knows, you know, or just Harold just flat out refused. I don't believe he would do that. Now, moving on, I just want to touch on something real quick. The treasure of God Valley, obviously Shaki. But I remember in the manga when Whitebeard said that in the panel where they show the Rox pirates actually sailing to God Valley, about to embark and dock in and dock their ship, Whitebeard said that idiot Rox is gonna forget the whole purpose of why we're here anyway, which leads me to something. What else? If I believe that happened, I believe that Rox actually went to God Valley with his crew to get Shaki back, but probably discovered something on God Valley that piqued his interest more, where he put another goal above saving Shaki. Because, you know, I think it was Rayleigh, I believe, yeah, it was ultimately Rayleigh who ended up saving Shaki, while Rox battled Garp, Roger, you know what I'm saying, and Whitebeard, Kaido, Big Mom. That big battle royale was occurring. I think that, and while Scopper was probably battling Sommers, Rayleigh more than likely took on Garling. Rayleigh, ooh, that bro got my brain just going off. Rayleigh versus Garling, that is something we have to see. I believe it's going to happen. And I think that Rayleigh actually took down Garling to save Shaki. But instead of Rox going to God Valley to originally save Shaki, like Whitebeard said, he got distracted by another goal. And something tells me that Rox may have discovered something or some pivotal information on the whereabouts of the Giants of Galila. Rox, there may have been some pivotal information on God Valley about the Giants of Galila, and Rox may have actually discovered it, which is why he put aside Shaki on the back burner as far as saving her, and potentially went after that information or item. Who knows? I just believe that there was something there involving the Giants of Galila on God Valley that could have been a great contribution to Rox's journey and his goals and ambitions. And upon discovering this, he was going to prioritize that while everybody else is scrambling for Shaki and essentially their other own goals that they may have stumbled upon or thought of while being on that island. Because I know Gloriosa, with Gloriosa being there, I know she is in 100% support for saving Shaki. And maybe Whitebeard is too, you know, because their whole purpose was going there to save Shaki. But there were other factors that happened on that island that derailed that goal. And I think that one of those factors was information regarding the Giants of Galila, or something that could have led to the Giants of Galila. And Rox may have chose to pursue that and said, okay, we'll get Shaki later, or the hell with Shaki, I don't care anymore. This is more important. This is going to help our goals. And ultimately that caused some more disarray amongst the crew, because like not everybody was there. I think that the Rox pirates, given that they're gooning over Shaki, as the community is saying, maybe some pirates still stuck to that. Maybe some of the Rox members still stuck to the goal of saving Shaki. I specifically believe that Gloriosa and Whitebeard did not save Shaki, but they stuck to that goal. However, this may have conflicted with Rox, especially with Newgate. I think that Newgate was there. Newgate not only probably got his scar from Garling, but Newgate was also there in the final battle with Rox, Roger, Garp, and other present company, Kaido and Big Mom, because we know Kaido wanted to fight Roger as well. So in 957, in Sengoku's Afro, when you see Whitebeard, Garp, Roger, Rox, Charlotte, and Kaido. That may be the battle royale we're gonna see. But I think that I believe that it was Garp and Roger fighting xebec, and Whitebeard probably fighting both Big Mom and Kaido in a big battle royale spread. Because I think that Whitebeard probably got tired of Rox. Like, yo, you may have won in a Davy back fight, but I'm done with you, man. I'm so done with you. Like, we need to just part ways. Your goal, your ambition is going to threaten my ambition to just have a pirate family anyway. So why am I still deciding with you? You can't even, you don't even want to save Shocky or maintain the real goal of why we're here. Who knows, man? And yes, I do believe that Rayleigh went through Garling to try and save Shocky. And maybe Whitebeard tried to assist. Who knows? But also a quick tangent. We know that Shanks was found aboard the Saver of xebec. What was Shanks? You go to God Valley to save Shocky, but you end up with Shanks on your ship in a treasure chest? Could that have been the other priority? Like, aside from the possible information about Galley Law Giants that may have been a factor, if a factor at all, could xebec have went after baby Shanks as potential leverage against the Celestials and Nobles to be like, hey, I'll bargain this baby for Shocky or Shakiyaku? Or it could have been something else completely. And also, Shanks having the Mark of the Abyss on his arm, I think xebec put that there. And if not xebec, maybe Garling put that there. xebec or Garling put that mark on Shanks' arm. I have no doubt about it. But we're going to later on get to that, man. That's all I got for now, man. I could go on. There's more, and I will go on for more in other videos, but that's all I'm gonna give you for now, man. But I just think God Valley, there is so much information, lore, and reveals that are being given to us, that are going to be given to us, and even now leading up to it, just given to us back after back. You don't have to always rely on the verbal confirmations of Oda. He will confirm without confirming, using his context clues through dialogue and imagery. He is a genius at that. Oda is a pure genius at the context clues, man. And if you are a great manga reader, or a manga reader in general, you probably know some information that you don't even think you know. Like, you probably know answers you don't even know that you know. That sounds redundant, but you got to get what I'm saying to get what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? But man, yeah, man, I think this is the greatest arc of all arcs, this Elbaf arc, only because given the fact that we're in the flashback and we see 3 of the original Yonkos, Kaido, Big Mom, Whitebeard, and yet the last original Yonko is Shanks, you know, who rose to the ranks as the youngest, but there may have been somebody before Shanks who had that spot and Shanks just took it over. However, given that we're getting the main 3 Yonko I just mentioned are now dead, presumably dead, even though the other 2 are floating in lava on Wano. We know Whitebeard is dead, and we know Charlotte and Kaido, they're floating in lava, of course. It's not, I don't know if it's confirmed that they're dead or not, but they're defeated. But the last original Yonko we have is Shanks, so this has to be a Shanks arc. Elbaf has to be the arc of Shanks and the final, and a great part of the final saga, because Shanks is the last one. Shanks growing up, all the events that happened in the world during the rise of Shanks from a baby to who he is now, that's gonna be a part of the end game in a major way, majorly. So yeah, man, that's all I got, man. I just wanted to talk about Herald today, still talk about God Valley, you know what I'm saying? Because we can't get enough. New chapters coming out this week. I kind of enjoy the break weeks and I don't kind of enjoy them. But what I enjoy about the break weeks is the speculations that we can come up with, the more theories that we can summarize and explain and also think about, man. And just, there's lots to talk about. There's plenty to talk about on this stuff. So that's all like I said, man, that's all I got for right now. I'm just going to leave you guys with that and get up out of here because I got to go to work soon. But hope you enjoyed the video. Like and share, subscribe if you want to at your own will. Love you guys. Love the community. We are in the end game and it is beautiful. It's going to be a long end game, but well worth it. Every chapter, every mile worth the while. I love it all, man. This is JD Rich signing off on you once again. And remember, a piece of life is life in one piece. Peace.